yara nyilla domoro kadiyate
boy janno CK's restaurant
sa nakko be ninna dimbal nimbe domoro kala janno
domoro seneyata adiyata topotoro fanan kendema bije luntan during tamala abeka domoro ki janni adi manda wala de teka we bijele anim fanan ka fadi jang ikono e fa e ka fa minne ko pastry anim bakery iko fanan be kalele badde lomba conference lomba workshop lomba ye fo fendin lon dunya kono domoro betama nyillom international o toda number 1
amanke ba domola jandama
esa domo jang is atariya
wo mu kubandi
sa nakko sa futandin
oto sa nakko be mu CK's restaurant
dafa na janna mu yat ni manje dorom bija
aban
CK's restaurant, known for best quality food and customer satisfaction.
diwli lanni maro lanni
pop lanni
awa joni mi anda honno gerde ten e ngaldo sabu e ngaldo Ibrahima jonnal taw joni mi anda se yahay kapitiki nyawlo den ha humpondire makko est ce qu'on non e warude
waden no awa
ane ko de Ibrahima ma ko to woni
mo Amerique
ko Amerique a woni kede humpitaki fi be musibe men baluwo be andanda kala ko wawda wonde aduna si arrivi e juude mabbe a jonna do dépassement Gambia har no weebi ayata kadi taw ko mbudi din no jawi walla no jippi be halanta ma ko kala ko falda ko re sengo nyamete ili nebba maro basal bomde te kala ko rewi don a hendo to har no weebi kadi wona dum don tu be abbe jonnira mobile phone siko dum kadi laptop kala ko wayrode jibe ay kasbawa be wawma jonnute kadi sa fala humpitade ko weebi ƴetti Google account ma joni data ton waɗa download app maɓɓe on ayiyay kala ko humpi ma e maɓɓe ton ɓe weeɓi yama
ka wonɗa wo e aduna on
kala ko wawɗa
a jonnanayi wonɗo ka leydi men Gambia ɗo dépense
hara no weeɓi hama si ɗum non fof no neeɓi immoɗen joni mi ɗowtama ka place maɓɓe jan
waɗen joni
iya heɓa ko falata
waɗen kisam.
When we touch down, better broke down.
With Gamtel G-Fiber, now you can enjoy super fast internet in gigabytes. G-Fiber is affordable, stable, secured, and accessible to homes, businesses, and enterprises. With Gamtel G-Fiber, the future is speed. Gamtel, creating a brighter future in communication.
So she became mine and see the
In communication, connectivity is everything. We ensure that the links never sleep. Quantities and qualities, all in our data service, providing efficient, reliable voice and data service. We believe if you're not up to speed, then you're going backwards. Communications have to flow as fast as the speed of light. Whatever business you're in, having someone who understands your needs is critical. That is why we just don't offer you technology, we offer you solutions. Enjoy Gamcel's internet broadband anytime, anywhere. Your national operator, Gamcel, Yaibaram.
I get it. Albaka. Yo.
My role this afternoon is to coordinate this press conference. As you must have already seen on the pamphlet with you or beside you, this press conference is organized by the Gambia Bar, Restaurant and Nightclub Association. The Gambia Bar, Restaurant and Nightclub Association. Very shortly, you would be able to have a good grasp about the objective of this press conference when one of the VIPs here takes the rostrum to give you more information about that. And then this will be followed by statements made by executive members of RBNA, about which you will also know very soon. And there will be statements on this very new association called Gambia Bar, Restaurant and Nightclub Association. Then there will be question and answers from the press when you have already understood what the objective of the association and this press conference is all about. There will also be closing remarks and a vote of thanks. And I promise all this will be done without taking much time, inshallah. But before we do everything as usual in the Gambia, we will have to have at least 1 minute of silent prayers in our own ways. And of course, according to our own faith. So shall we have a minute's prayers? Amen. Once again, thank you very much. I want to acknowledge the large presence of the members of the media here in the country, drawn from various media, television, on internet or television stations, newspapers, radios, etc., etc. Thank you very much. Entertainment columnists and writers and commentators, thank you very much, all of you, for coming to this press conference. Like I said, I'm Lamin Cham, and I will be simply coordinating the press conference. Here, right in front of you, are members of this newly formed association, which is just having its maiden public function. You will hear more, of course, about it. So at this juncture, without wasting time, I call the Honorable Benjamin Roberts. He is advisor to the Gambia Bar, Restaurant and Nightclub Association to give us the objectives of this press conference. Honorable Roberts.
Thank you very much, Mr. MC. Let me take this opportunity to welcome each and every single one of you in your various capacities. Let me take this opportunity also to acknowledge, as is usually customary, of Honorable Gaba Jahumpasise, who is here, and each and every single one of you, the media, bar, restaurant, and nightclub owners, the interim executive of the Gambia Bar, Restaurant, and Nightclub Association. Ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed an honor to today have this opportunity to stand here in front of you to pretty much hold this press conference and help clarify on issues. There have been a number of misunderstandings, misgivings regarding the formation of an association that intends to bring all restaurant, bars, and nightclubs together in this country. But we would delve into those details as we move forward. First and foremost, we are holding this press conference to inform you, the media, in terms of the ongoing plans of bona fide Gambian and non-Gambian restaurant, bar and nightclub owners. We're also holding this press conference to inform the media about the initiatives that have been undertaken by the current interim or information Gambia Bar, Restaurant and Nightclub Association with the already existing Restaurant, Bar and Nightclub Association, otherwise RBNA. I want us to clarify and distinguish between the two. You have the RBNA, which is the Restaurant, Bar and Nightclub Association, which is already in existence, formed in a manner that is not all inclusive. Then you have the ongoing, and this is the ongoing Gambia Bar, Restaurant and Nightclub Association, which is what we are trying to form to include most of the bona fide owners of restaurant, bars, and nightclub associations in the Gambia, irrespective of Gambian or non-Gambian. I think that has to be made very clear from the onset. Yeah? The Gambia Bar, Restaurant, and Nightclub Association, on the 7th of this month, held a meeting, and they were represented by some of the people that you see up here. Myself as an advisor to the group, Hatib Jane, Seni Mane, Lamin Silla, and Mr. Aliou Cisse. We met with the executive of the RBNA. We met with Mehdi, we met with Driz, we met with Mark. And I believe those were the three representatives. Correct me if I'm wrong. And at that meeting, we had sought to try to harmonize and bring the two groups together. At that time, the GBRNA, which is what we represent, was not even formed yet. So the idea was to engage them and tell them that the manner in which they had undertaken to form the Restaurant, Bar, and Nightclub Association was wanting. It was wanting for two reasons. One, it was non-inclusive. Yeah, a group of people had come and they had taken the decision to form a group, created an executive, and they now wanted to invite other restaurant, bar, and nightclub association owners. At this time, a constitution has already been formed. In my recollection and from basic knowledge, when you seek to form an association, the first thing that must happen is you have to invite like minds or people of similar interest to discuss the need for the creation of an association. And at that meeting, you conceptualize and agree on what the objective of that association would be. And from that meeting, that would now inform your memorandum and articles of association, and ultimately the constitution that would guide that association. So these were the lapses that we pinpointed out to them and told them that for that reason, it is non-inclusive, and the constitution that exists at the time would not in any manner entail the object for which an association was created. So we made a proposal to them, and we said, nullify the current restaurant, bar, nightclub association, nullify the executive, open up the invitation, let everybody come up, hold a general meeting, and at that general meeting, inform the bona fide restaurant, bar, and nightclub association members. Yeah? At that meeting, let them tell you, those members, what is it that they want this association to achieve on their behalf. And from there, come up with the memorandum and articles of association and ultimately create a constitution. And subsequently, I was asked by the GBRNA to engage with the chairman of the RBNA for us to iron out these proposals. Ultimately, correspondence came that they are not willing to let go what they have already started. And that was the time the decision was taken to say, okay, that being the case, let us now begin to form an association that is more representative. To give you an idea, the RBNA membership, as of today, stands at under 40 members. The GBRNA, which is still not information, we should understand this. A WhatsApp group has been created, and we are yet to have our first general meeting, but the people who have signed up and agreed to the manner in which we want to do this is currently about 120 people. So 3 times the size of the RBNA. I think it is important that we make this thing clear. Yeah? So ladies and gentlemen, without much ado, we would now move into the next phase, of which I would allow the MC to take us from. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Benjamin Roberts. He is the chairman of, as you've rightly said, the Gambia Bar, Restaurant and Nightclub Association. And I hope if you had been following, you would have understood now the situation that exists, which is the fact that there had been an organization calling itself RBNA and claiming to be representing all the bona fide members and stakeholders of the Gambian entertainment industry, if you like, bars, restaurants, and nightclub owners. Now, as you have said, they in the Gambia Bar, Restaurant, and Nightclub Association felt that that association definitely is not inclusive, as its formation was not after widespread consultations among its members, and they felt that an association of such should have a broader representation of the key players of that industry. And that they have engaged them to see whether they can come back to the drawing board and form an association that will have a national character. And he had, as you have said, they have not succeeded, as the other body insisted that they would not change. So, like he said in their consultations, already, even before they start, they have 120 members who have signed up to the idea that indeed a broad-based association should be in place rather than the one that has just been formed. And that's basically what he's been trying to say. They are not pushing and pulling with anybody. They just wanted an association that will be representative of all the key players in this sector. And now we move to 2 gentlemen in the presence of Seni Marina and Lamin Silla, both of whom had been members of this initial association, the RBNA, but have felt the need to resign from that after having realized that actually the association does not represent every stakeholder in the industry. So they will have their story to tell us here. First, I will call on Mr. Senimane to come forward. Mr. Mane.
Thank you very much, MC. I suffocate with this thing here. Thank you for coming, the media and my fellow friends here. It is indeed an honor to be part of the new association. I have resigned from the association because when the petitioners came to me with that list of so many people, I had no choice but to want to hear what they had to say, which I was in the board already as a spokesperson. And I think I told the board members, let's take this as an opportunity. If these people want to be part of the association, but they don't like the way we form it, let's give them a chance. Let's come together and, you know, do what we have to do. Our honorable here, just to clarify, he is in the capacity of my business as Swiss Group Gambia Limited, just to address conflict of interest here. He's here for that, and also our advisor. We had a meeting to rectify the situation. When we had the meeting, the chairman of the new association and our honorable here were tasked to see a solution for the way forward. And when nothing happened, I decided to send my resignation because I think I'm a Gambian and I own businesses, and I think it is fair to have people together. The association needs to be strong. And 40 members and 250 members, I mean, you cannot even start to think about it. I think I cannot say much here, but then I think later you'll have questions and answers. But I feel I will not be myself if I would just continue in that association, because it's not inclusive. You know, I'm a proud person, and you know, Gambians are very proud people. We don't take no for an answer. So, in that capacity, I said, we are going to have a meeting, discuss, and give them the chance to come together. When that didn't happen, I have to send my resignation. There is not much I can say to that. If you have any question later, please, you're welcome to ask. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mane. He is Seni Mane. And like I've said, he was one of the members of the initial organization who decided to resign and actually express their desire to have a general membership that will form an association that will be representative of everybody. And like he said, he had outlined just a little bit of the reasons why he had to take that step. And if you want to know more, you can, when the time for question and answer comes. There is another man, Lamin Silla, who also was part of the initial one, but had to resign, I'm sure, because of similar reasons. But let's hear his story. Mr. Silla.
Good afternoon, everybody. And the media is well observed, and all other friends around. For me, this organization, when it was formed, I felt that I was handpicked because I have no chance to vote for the executive. And I was called by Seni for just a mere phone call to become part of the executive, which I felt that it was very unfair. For me, an organization should be all inclusive. And the moment I got that telephone call, I called Aliu Bey, most of the key players that I know. I called Aliu and I called Malafi, Timeless, and then to my surprise, when I came to this meeting, I already found members of the executive, and I was told that it was an executive meeting, which I felt that it was totally unfair. I have no chance to vote for the executive, and I have never been told that I was voted in an executive which I don't have no chance to vote for. So when I came to that meeting, after 2 meetings, I told them like that after talking to some of the members, which I think they are key players within the industry, and I realized that none of them have been informed. So after they giving me their side of the story, the next meeting we had with the RNBA, I told them that we have some concerned people within that, informed me that they have never been told about this association and never been written to. So what I did was to talk to some of them, and then when they formed that group as petitioners, I signed on that petition because I think, seriously, if you are going to organize any organization, it has to be all inclusive. And I don't want to be part of any organization or association that is not all inclusive. So for that matter, I was tasked to be part of the groups to try to bring the two groups together. We have a very faithful meeting, fruitful meeting for that matter, and then to try to bring the two, all these groups together to become one association. And after that meeting, we tasked the interim chairman and the chairman of that other association to try to come up together. And without no results on that, I just felt that I will never be part of any.
Is the Gambia Bar, Restaurant and Nightclub Association a statement on this newfound association, its objective, its mission. And that's what we are going to hear now again from the Honorable Benjamin Roberts, who's advisor to the group. He will tell us, he will read a statement on the newfound association's concepts and objectives. Honorable.
Thank you very much, Mr. MC. I think for all the media houses that are here, we would be sharing with you the minutes of the outcome of the meeting that I made reference to earlier, back on the 7th of this month. It was on a Sunday when we met with the executive of the RBNA, that is the Restaurant, Bar and Nightclub Association. The minutes are here, and I would give a copy to each and every single media house. Sorry for that. We have endeavored to give an overview of what has obtained thus far from the first time that the bona fide Gambian bar and restaurant owners thought that the manner in which the RBNA was formed was not inclusive. It is one thing to look at a body and say that the manner in which they have undertaken to form an association was not inclusive. It is another thing if you're trying to form an association to ensure that you do what is right and you create a body that is inclusive. In that regard, what we had sought to do from the onset was to say, because we all agreed that the time to have an association that brings all bars, restaurants, and nightclubs under one umbrella was long time overdue. This is a premise that we all agree on. The British are fond of saying it. Together, we stand strong. Divided, we fall. It's a reality. And having been in this industry, when I was approached to be in an advisory capacity, the first thing I said was, it's long overdue and it should be pursued vigorously. But what we said was, since one has been already created, let's go and meet with the one that has been created, but try to get them to understand that the manner in which it was done was wanting. And if at all there is willingness on their part to rectify that shortcoming, yeah, then we would look at the constitution that they have, review it, and we'll try to fill the gaps if at all we find out that the constitution is short or the objects of the association has left certain things out. This is important. So what we decided to do when we realized that this engagement was not yielding the sort of fruits that we had expected, we had said, what we do now, and some of the members who are sitting here, why don't you begin to engage the restaurant, bar, and nightclub owners, including beach bar owners, yeah, not only within the TDA strip, but the entire length and breadth of the greater Banjul area, and try and get membership into this association. From that engagement, yeah, and through reference to a petition list that was created earlier, which was sent to the Gambia Tourism Board, because a letter was sent to the Gambia Tourism Board petitioning the manner in which this RBNA was created, and for the GT board not to give approval to the creation of that association because it was not inclusive. When that letter was sent, subsequently a response was received from the GT board in response to the petition. And the GT board had made it clear on the letter that they had requested that they needed to see a compilation of the list of who the members were of the RBNA, because they too were of the view that an association has to be inclusive. GT board has a repository of all the restaurants, bars, and nightclubs in the country. So naturally, that response never came from the RBNA to the GT board for obvious reasons, because the numbers are not there. Yeah? Now, what we decided to do was to create a WhatsApp group. And currently, that WhatsApp group has 118 members to be exact. The 120 that we said was because certain numbers were given, but they are not WhatsApp numbers. But if you add those numbers, it goes beyond 120. Now, in that group, that is where the correspondence and all of the engagements has been happening for this press conference today. So all the members of the Gambia Bar, Restaurant, and Nightclub Association, which is what we represent, all of them cannot possibly be here for obvious reasons. Yeah? The program, the agenda of the press conference, the manner in which the press conference was going to be held, has all been populated in that WhatsApp group. And it is a diverse group, as you can see already here. Yeah? Now, what is the way forward? The way forward is what we are doing currently here, to hold a press conference to clarify, for people to understand what is happening, for people to appreciate the realities on the ground, contrary to what the RBNA is trying to purport. When we met the RBNA, we had agreed at that meeting, and this was the reason why some media houses had called the likes of Hatib, the likes of Lamin Silla, the likes of Seni Mane, requesting for clarification. But they had turned that request down because at that meeting that we had between the RBNA and the GBRNA, we had agreed that nobody from the two groups should or would talk to the press, because we were given dialogue and opportunity before we come out and engage the press. It is important that this is clear. In a WhatsApp correspondence that I have records of, 2 days after our meeting, there was something that was on one of the social media networks. And it was something that was posted by RBNA. Yeah, that RBNA gave to a media house and they put it up. And when we saw that, we called RBNA and said, something is up in one of the social media networks. And we had agreed that this should not be the case. Within an hour, it was brought down. I'm sure the media house that we are talking of is here. Yeah? So it is important that we make these things amply clear. Our objective is the way forward. How do we form an association that is all-inclusive, that is reflective of the objects and interests of the people that are behind that association? Because in the formation of an association, there are certain things that should be realized. You just don't form an association just because you want to form an association. I used to manage this industry, both at the level of the GT board and as a minister. So I know what is at hand, and I know what needs to be done. And this is why we are saying that if we're going to form an association that is going to live up to expectations, from the onset, every single member must see itself in that association, must have been seen to have participated, their input recognized, and then we agree on a general objective in terms of what are we going to pursue as an association. And in that way, you are actually helping the regulators of the industry to do their work properly. And at the same time, you can also realize economically and financially other benefits that you as standalones would never realize. These are realities of the game of this industry. So henceforth, after this press conference, we're going to have a general body meeting. And at that general body meeting, all people who are interested in joining the Gambia Bar, Restaurant, and Nightclub Association would have an opportunity to say, this is what we want to pursue as an association, these are our challenges, these are our issues, and we would decide to now from that create the objects of the association, create a memorandum and articles of association, and ultimately create a constitution that is what would bind us and guide us in our various engagements and activities with businesses, with the government, and therefore pursue a collective interest. And at the general body meeting, if it's feasible, we would try to come up with an executive. If it's not feasible, there'll be another meeting that will be held to select the executive that would underpin this association. And let me say here that I don't want to prematurely talk about issues, but it's one thing to create an association and an executive to guide the association strategically. But it is also another thing to look at the objectives for which the association was created and try to come up with committees within the association to sort of facilitate and pursue certain interests of the membership of the association. So these are all things that we are going to pay attention to. And we would ensure that the interest of the list of the bar, restaurant, and nightclub owners are represented, and the highest in terms of relevance and size economically are also represented. So we thought that we make these things clear for you to know what our strategic intent and what is the direction that we're expecting to take henceforth. On that note, I would leave this here, and every media personnel representing the various networks can have a copy, because we don't want to hide anything. We are transparent in all of our engagements and in our dealings. On that note, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Benjamin Roberts, who is the advisor for the current efforts to get all the key players to form the Gambia Bar, Restaurant and Nightclub Association. I'm sure he has outlined all the various initiatives that we are taking for them to arrive here. And I'm sure everybody now is familiar with the situation that is happening now in the industry. So like you said, there are evidences and proof about the meetings that were conducted to all of course being efforts to get everybody together, as you have said. Now we have arrived at question and answer sessions, and this is to enable you or anybody who wants further clarification of the issues, whether it is the chairman, or rather the advisor or members of the high table here who have spoken, or from anybody you wish to have more information about this current situation. You can identify yourself. Maybe we can take, well, of course, if you can, as many questions as possible, if that is. Yes. Do we have a microphone? Yeah. Okay. Maybe you can come here, identify yourself, and ask your question. And who would you like to give the clarification?
Okay. Thank you very much. My name is Buba Gajigo, here for Kerfat. Now, I have several questions to ask regarding this. I guess when the former executive was forming the first RBNA, you people were around. So what was your reaction at that time before it was formed? That's the first question. The second question, who are these people? Are they Gambians? Who are these people? We want to know, we've been hearing from you, the former executive, but are they Gambian? Who are these people? Who are the majority among them? It's also, of course, accusation that they lobby for funds about this COVID-19. So, is it true that the funds were not used for its purpose? That's the third question. I have a lot of questions, those. I'm very sorry. So, the last question that I will ask is about the people who are working in restaurants and bars, nightclubs. It's an accusation that most of the people they don't get paid or definitely the treatments that are meted on them is definitely not good, and you have so many accusations about that. Some people work for 1 month, they are sacked, and they are treated badly. What is this association going to do if you form to change this? Thank you.
Well, just to be clear, I think the gentleman first he wants to know what has been the reaction of these people when the initial association was being formed. Some of those things have been highlighted, I know. And he also wants to know who are these people being referred to as RBNA. Are they a special group of people who are they even Gambians, and who are they? And then he said also there were rumors that they in fact solicited funds or funding as a relief for COVID for the stakeholders in the industry. He wanted to know whether that was the case, and whether if there was any money, has it been used for the purpose intended. And then he also dealt with the plight of workers, employees in the industry who have claimed that they have not been paid or they have not been fairly treated by their employees or whatever. I don't know whether Honorable Advisor would like to take this question. Or Mr. Ali will. Sorry? What happened? DJ, you want?
Afternoon to the press, afternoon to my colleagues, business owners, and all the well-wishers that are here. First of all, I would like to thank everybody for coming in. I would like to go, first of all, to the first question, which is, if I'm right, you have to correct me, Mr. Cham. The reaction, we want to tell everybody that this was formed between 5 to 10 people. So our reaction was none, because we didn't even know this was formed. This was formed in like a small group, as I said, for all the businesses. That's what we are trying to do, to inform everybody, to tell people to come first before we form and select our executive. But when this group, RBNA, was formed, none of us didn't know here. So we had no reaction to it. We had a reaction after it was formed and we found out.
Who are they?
Now, let me just be clear something. We are not trying to be racist. We are not trying to be segregatory. We are not trying to be nothing. We are trying to be business owners, whether you are Gambian, whether you are foreigners. We all look at it as everybody is investing in this country in one way or the other. As you are Gambian or not, you are contributing to the tourist industry and the Gambian economy at large. This group of people, from what we find out, and when we had the meeting, we challenged them to that. It's a whole group of Lebanese, Gambian or non-Gambians. And as I said, let us be correct on this. We are not trying to be racist, but we are given the scheme of the question asked. And when this thing came to us, it was transferred as there is a group of Lebanese restaurants, because Gambia is very small, and all of us knows each other and knows the restaurants that are here and the ownership. When we got information about this group, it was made that there's a whole bunch of Lebanese and European forming this group. Where are you guys at? Because in this industry, we are very much popular and very much have a business that has been a long time ago. So that's the formation of the group, and that's what we've got. And when we found out, we saw the same thing too. And the group, when we have...
Let me just clarify that. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, yeah? Because I'm more familiar with the other group. I just want to give you the breakdown of the group. The executive, they didn't want me to talk, because me, I'm a straight shoot. You know? It's simple. I just want to give you that short listing. The executive of that group, the chairman, which is Mark, is Mehdi Bensouda of Aquarius Partner. I'm just trying to give you the breakdown. The vice chairman is Mandi at Gaia. Mehdi is another Lebanese, Mehdi's cousin. And Idris. Then you have the treasurer, which is Idris Bensouda. just for you to see the family listing. Then you have the secretary, which is who is the daughter of Mandy, the vice chairman. So that breaks it down. It's like a family.
Yes. So, I mean, once again, we have to strongly point out that for us, we are trying to be inclusive. Everybody has the right to form your association if you are in this industry. But once you involve Gambia in the association in the name of the Gambia, it has to be inclusive. And when we represent in bars, restaurant, and nightclub, everybody from the length and breadth of this country has to be inclusive, regardless of color, race, or religion we are in. Because this is a long overdue association. The hotel association the hotels have their associations, the drivers in the tourist industry have, craft market have, but the only association that is not available is this association. And as Hatip has rightly said, he has given you the clear picture of what it is. So it looks like it's just a family coming in to form the association. And in this present day of Gambia, there is no way that is going to happen. Let's be correct to that. Next question.
The other part of the question was
funds. No, the funds. Now, there is a conspiracy we get. From what we've understand, this is the background of this whole thing. RBNA was formed from our information because there was a saying that UNDP has money for bars and restaurants, but it has not been tapped. So this group of, I will not call it association, this family came together, formed a group of all their restaurants, because they're all in the restaurants and bar business, and decided to make a form and tender it to the Ministry of Finance through the tourism. Because it is widely believed that there is $50 that is going to be paid to the staffs of all the restaurants and bar for 3 months. The UNDP wanted to do that through Ministry of Finance, through Gambia Ministry of Tourism. So you could see that it was done in a segregated way just to benefit a group of people. So when the news came back to us, of course, this is not fair for anyone because we all suffered. If you look at the present day Gambia right now, everything is virtually open except bars, nightclubs, and restaurants. So we are the only people that is suffering from the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic to right now, and we have to obey the law because we are all Gambian. We see the market, we see the transportation, but if you see any nightclub or restaurants or bar, they're all dusty. And we have more staffs, and it will be fair for us too to pay our staffs, not one group of people, because this money is not for Gambia, it's not for one group of people, it's for everybody. You understand? So they put their application to the Ministry of Finance. I don't know whether the money is given to them, but when we made our inquiries, they said no money has been given. But we said, okay, this is not only about money. This is about coming together on an overdue association, and then if there is money, it's good for all the staff. And UN, from what we've heard, UN are going to give it directly to the staff of 3 months' salary, which is going to help all of us and our staffs. Because the season, we've lost 3 months of the season, and the season is only 6 months. That means our staff are not going to be paid for 9 months of the season. So there's no way one family is just want to benefit the money, share it between themselves, and all the business owners within the length and breadth of the country don't get any money. That's why we engaged them and said, no, let's just all put it together so everybody could get and bring the association together. And this is the nitty-gritty of it. And we felt that they using that, after that, they come and say they want to do an association when the news came out. So now they just put 2 cards, not 1 card, 2 cards in front of the horse. Because they should have come, all of us, because the UN is not going to deal with one individual. They are not crazy to know, to say that there's only 20 restaurants and bars in the Gambia. There's so many. So when they saw the list and GTV saw the list, they tasked them to bring back the members, but they haven't brought that. So now what they have done is they're trying to play the number game. We've wrote a petition to them. They're going through the list of all the members. We came and explained the idea, calling them and said, now come, we have to form an association. I will give you in a layman English. There's a whole group of press here. We cannot have just QTV and Kirfatu to come together, form an association, select their president, select their chairman and their treasury, and go for funds that is available through the Ministry of Information that is coming from the UN. After the news come out, now they said, okay, let's bring everybody, but we've already have our chairman. No. We have to all come together, as our able chairman, interim chairman has said, come together, do a conference, and then bring everybody and elect and go in as one group. We'll be more respected, we'll be more given the chance to, and we'll have a bigger voice. And this is what we stand for. And as I said, from what we've seen in segregation and racism in the States, in Gambia, everywhere, we're not going to stand for this. And we welcome everything. If you look at this group here, we didn't take it as only Gambian, because if an Indian comes to Gambia and open a restaurant and employs Gambia, we welcome that, because that's good for the community and is giving employment to our people. So everybody has to be included, because one way or the other, you have a stake in this industry. Does answer your question. The last one? The last question is about the treatment of our staff. Now, as I said, this group is not only about money. If the money comes, trust me, it's good, because we want it to come for our staff. But another way is to come an association. If restaurant A has a problem of their staffs having been treated badly or not paid good, this is an association that the staffs could come and complain to us, and we see how to rectify that. Not only about money. This is an organization that if you want to open a business or a restaurant, you could come to veterans like us that has been in this business for decades to advise you on taxes, on operation, and on standard and everything. So it's not only treatment of the staff. Yes, everybody might not be happy to this occasion, to their jobs, but if you don't have a group, a media that people could come and employees could come and express themselves, there is no way forward. And this is an organization that we are trying to bring all Gambians to for things like this. I'll give you another example of, you all know that Julbrew is closing down. One of the most tourist likable drinks in Gambia is Julbrew. This is a way that we could come together and look forward of how to get all those things. This is a way of we could go forward to the government and say, look, our taxes are too high. We haven't operated for 3 months, but we cannot go individually. They will not hear us. So this is why we want to bring it, instead of a family just doing it, if that answers your question.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Aliou Cisse. I hope he had answered all those questions. And of course, you had some other contributions from Hati and others. Any more questions from anybody? Isaiah, come forward here. Are you sure? You'll be heard.
Oh, sorry, I keep stepping on it. Okay, sorry about that. Let me just give you a brief history of this. 7 years ago, to be exact, 7 or 8 years ago, we tried to form this association in Senegambia. We wanted to start with Senegambia bars and restaurants and come together. But during that time, we had a conflict of interest of the reason of coming together. So nevertheless, the association was never formed. But we've been trying underneath to do it. And just to correct you, if there is accusation of, for us, it's about the money, it's not about the money, because we didn't know about the money. If you have to throw any accusation like that, you have to throw it to that family members that come up with the association, because they're the one that knew about the money that was supposedly from the UNDP and Ministry of Finance and applied and didn't tell anyone. For us, we haven't even applied for it. We haven't even done anything. What we said is, we're going to put pause to this, bring everybody together, talk about the association as a much needed association, bring them together, whether there is money, and before you ask the question, I said whether it's about the money or not, it's just a long overdue association. And from what we've looked at it, from what we've explained to you, you could see that this was money motivated from them. when the information came out, now they're trying to make it in a general association. And some of the members that they've been saying, and I'll give you an example of Big Apple nightclub, it's a very famous in our industry. They said this was done for an association, and we have a letter too that we let the media to have, but Big Apple wrote back to tell them that when you told us about this, it was about the COVID-19 money. You never said about association. So that tells you there's a discrepancy of what's going on from their side. But for us, we haven't even think about the money. We haven't applied anything. If I would task you as a journalist to go to the Ministry of Finance, and you will see the application of these people with their staff, about 10 or 20 business, only in there. For us, we haven't applied or done anything. We're worried about, let's come together first. Whatever comes out of it, then we can have that. So for us, we are clean about it, and we are for association for the Gambia, not for about money. Yeah?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Aliu Sise. Any further question? Yes, we had a lady. Yes, come.
Good afternoon to you all. I am Usman A. Marong, blogger by profession and then correspondent Mamus TV. If I may hurt you, yes, if I may hurt you well, it seems there is an intellectual warfare surrounding this whole saga. And then you did talk about associations or people wanting to hijack your own association, if I may call it. And you did talk about membership, bona fide membership. If I may ask, how can one become a bona fide member? That's my question. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question. It's a short one, so I'm going to give a short answer. Perhaps it's more of a descriptive. If you are a restaurant, bar, and nightclub owner, you are a bona fide restaurant, bar, and nightclub owner. We are looking at forming an association of which the membership is not in conflict with the law. Yeah? So if you run your bar, if you run your restaurant, if you run your nightclub, and you're doing everything within the ambit of the law, you're a bona fide restaurant, bar, and nightclub owner. Thank you.
Okay, Oli. I don't. How many other people want to ask a question? 1, 2. Okay, let's take 2 more because otherwise we will sleep here.
I have 2 questions. Well, I have one comment and a question. My comment is the situation with the first restaurant, bar, and club association. It's not only racism, but it's more nepotism. And that is something that we have to break in the Gambia when it comes to representing a general body of people. My first question has to do with the funds that are available. And I think it's very necessary because I'm a freelance journalist, but I'm also in the entertainment industry. And I know myself and others in here, we have lost 3 months, 4 months worth of income. So my question to the newly Gambia Association is, will you open it to not only include bars, restaurants, and clubs, but the whole entertainment industry, from promoters, event planners, even entertainment journalists, because they would cover events and get money from that. Would you include everyone so that we can all benefit for whatever funds are available from the COVID-19 UNDP funds? That's the first question. The second question, I'm very into blogging and doing media all around the world. And one thing I do is spend a lot of time on social media. And I noticed that in Switzerland, they've already started having festivals. In Atlanta, the Gambians got a club, they're clubbing. In Senegal, they've opened up the restaurants, Dream Restaurant, which is owned by a friend of mine. They're sitting inside their restaurants. In Gambia, we still can't move. Will the association tackle what's going on with opening up the restaurants and the clubs in a responsible way where business can continue as usual? Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Ole Matatal. I'm an international journalist, publicist, and CEO of Senjigen Productions.
Okay, thank you very much for your question. 2 pertinent questions. Let me make a point clear, and that point would answer your first question in terms of how inclusive would this group, this association be. First and foremost, one of the challenges we have in this country is when people form associations, they fail to pay attention to a very pertinent point in association. And that point is the people that you are trying to bring together, the interest must be similar. Yeah? Because if I decide to create an association that includes hotels, that includes bars, restaurants, nightclubs, ground tour operators, equipment hirers, already, as one association, I'm trying to represent diverse interests. The focus would not be there. And this is why this association, sorry if we would disappoint. No. Okay, let me finish and then you clarify your question. So this association is going to focus on restaurants, bars, and nightclubs because there are commonalities in terms of interest. So that is very important because if there is commonality in terms of interest, then the focus can be there in terms of what the association would pursue for the benefit of its members. Once that objective begins to expand, then you would lose focus and you would not be able to represent each one effectively. Yeah? Now, the second question, then you can provide your clarification on the first question. The second question is, we're just forming. None of us sitting around this place today at this particular conference, we want COVID-19 to end yesterday. For us, the focus is creating this association. And it's a process, and it's going to take time before we form this association and select the executive, establish our memorandum articles of association, have a constitution that underpins us, and then begin to fight the interest of its members. That may take time. How much time is that going to take? It's difficult to say at this time, because we do want to do things properly. So I hope that answers your second question. Now you can provide clarification on the first.
My first question, the clarification is on the funds around COVID-19. Will this association be responsible not just acquiring funds for bars, restaurants, and nightclubs, for the entertainment industry at large, like myself? I'm planning, I'm publicist, you've got some independent journalists who are not able to go cover events, therefore they're not able to make the money to feed their families. So when you go after these general entertainment funds, will it just be for bars, restaurants, and nightclubs, or will you look at the entertainment industry at large and go for a bulk of money that can help all of us?
Now, that depends on what the provisions of the funds givers are. If the funds givers have a stipulation that all applications for a particular amount of fund has to be from the perspective of an association, and if we form the Restaurant, Bar, and Nightclub Association, naturally, our request would be confined to the bars, restaurant, and nightclubs. Thank you.
Just want to clarify something very important. This is not about the funds. Let me be specific about this. As Olaf says, we haven't seen any money. We don't know about how true this is. We don't know whether any money is coming. And this association is not only about the funds. Let that be clear. The money, we don't know nothing about. We haven't seen it. We don't know whether it's true from the UNDP. We wrote them a letter. They haven't replied. We wrote Ministry of Finance. They haven't replied. We wrote to Ministry of Tourism. They haven't replied. So let just everybody, because this is whatever you say goes out to the world. We don't know about any money. Let's not make this about any money. We feel that the other group family made it about money because they're the one that tendered their application there. This is about forming an organization that is long overdue to help, as you said, to help everybody that is in this industry. And if there is money coming in, it's up to the discretion of whoever is giving out the money to put it. Because we understand GBOS, Gambia Bureau of Statistics, have done statistical study on these things, restaurants and bars and nightclubs and beach bars. So for us, we don't know anything about money. We don't want to make it look like we just have to strengthify that point. I hope you understand. Yeah? All right.
Thank you very much. Well, you have had your turn. Any one or two more? Anyone else? Yes, come on.
My name is Yusufa from GTTV. My first question is, a lot of people are saying that majority of the executive formally and new executive non-Gambians, meaning majority of them are Lebanese. So what is the new association doing to balance that? The second question is also, people are also saying that what can the new association guarantee them that the balance of power will still be in place? Because looking at the nature, according to people, what they are saying, the association cannot challenge the Lebanese people. Like you said, it's not about racism because all race matters. But how can you guys balance this power that the non-Gambians will not have more influence and more policies that will be favorable to them than the Gambians? Thank you.
Okay, thanks for your question. I must say that I would need clarification from you. Or maybe, if I understand your question correctly, let me just make a distinction. The Restaurant, Bar, and Nightclub Association is an existing association. That association, as Hatib has outlined, is an association in which the executive has been captured by a particular family. Yeah, because if you look at the chairman, the vice chairman, the treasurer, and the secretary, there's biological relations. Now, this association that we are trying to form, it has not yet been formed, and the executive is yet to be selected. That has to be made clear. The people that you see here that are representing the interest of that new association to be formed is interim. At a general body meeting that we would have, at that meeting, a decision would be made if time allows for the executive to be selected at that time, or maybe a subsequent meeting would be held in which we would select an executive. Now, to answer your question in terms of balance of power, let me also make this point clear. There is no power struggle here. Actually, we had said during this press conference, we would extend an invitation to the Restaurant, Bar, and Nightclub Association, the one that currently exists, spearheaded by a particular family or extended family. The doors are still open. They want to be part of the Gambia Bar, Restaurant, and Nightclub Association, they are more than welcome. If they come and we are selecting an executive and people put them up for executive positions, so be it. Because at the end of the day, as Aliu has said, anybody, whether you're a Gambian, whether you're a non-Gambian, whatever, it's irrelevant. What is relevant is you participate in the industry, you pay your taxes, you employ Gambians, you're paying them, and therefore that makes you eligible for you to be part of this association. You have a stake. This is the reality. Yeah, so there is no power struggle here. The reason why we have decided to form the Gambia Bar, Restaurant, and Nightclub Association and not engage with the Restaurant, Bar, and Nightclub Association is because the manner in which they have undertaken to form that association is wanting. If they had agreed to our proposal, which again is outlined here, so a copy for you would help, then we would have gladly said, let us fine-tune and we move forward. Because one thing we have both agreed on is that an association that would underpin restaurants, bars, and nightclubs is long overdue, and one has to be formed. I hope that answers your question. Thank you.
Okay, well, final question from Usman. You have your tone. We need somebody. Yes, one more. Huh? But we cannot have another person's. That's the problem. Pardon? She surrendered her questions to you. Well, that's strange. Okay, but then we need a fresh person. You have been there already. Come on.
Okay. I have two questions. One is, I'm Mahmoud from Paradise TV. I have one question. I'm made to understand that the fourth association that was formed was mainly foreigners. So my question is, go ahead. Yeah, okay. My question is, if that association was in fact started by Gambians, are we going to have the same claims you guys are claiming now? And my second question is, we just saw 2 people just resign from that other association. What could be the cause of the selective selection that happened there? Because I saw a Gambian who was there. So what could be the cause of the selective selection? And as well, my third question would be, if this association is formed, what benefit would be there for big bar owners and juice pressers and anybody who is in the tourist industry to benefit from in order for them to be motivated to come and join this association?
What was it? Okay, sorry. Your first question, I want to make this thing very, very clear. I don't think anybody, what we are saying, these people are Gambians. They're Lebanese Gambians. Let it be clear. I'm not saying they are non-Gambian. Driss Bensouda is Gambian. Mehdi Bensouda is Gambian. You know, the only one that is not Gambian there is the chairman Mark, which is Mehdi's partner. So these people, they are Gambians. So, to be clear, you know, they're Lebanese Gambians. I'm not saying they are not Gambian. You know. I hope that answers the first question. Yeah? What was the second one? The second was, the first question was, if they were actually in fact 100% Gambian, everybody, like a non-family based selection, would we be having this claim that we have? No. What I'm trying to say is very simple. When hello, excuse me. What I'm trying to say is simple. Me personally, I had a fruitful meeting with Mehdi after the petition was signed. And what I explained to Mehdi is, listen, this is very simple. What we are trying to say, what we are saying is, let all of us come together, have a general meeting, and then have election, and then whoever is elected is fine. Maybe if all of them join in, if the voters vote for Mehdi, Driss' son and everything, it's fine. But we just want it to be transparent. We want everybody to have the chance to vote. I personally don't want Mark to be the chairman. You see my point? So if they happen to be the executive, if they're elected, they're elected. That is good. No problem. We won't have this problem, of course. What we are saying is they hand-pick people and tell them that, okay, you are the chairman, you are the vice chairman, you are the secretary, you are the treasurer. And what makes me more angry, they hand-pick my 2 humble friends here and make them the spokesman and the local language translator. How the... Sorry, man. Okay, sorry. You know me, I sit straight. That's why they didn't want me to talk, huh? So I don't talk again.
I just want to clarify one thing. That is like, for me, it's more like an organization. I think being part of an organization should be more like people voting and holding certain positions. To my surprises, a mere telephone call, I don't think this is about racism or anything like that. Because when they called me, I came in, and at the same time, I was part of the executive automatically without me knowing, voting for anybody, as I make it very clearly. So if it is about racism, I would just like find all the people I found on the ground. Most of them, whether they are Gambians or non-Gambians, but they are all light-skinned, if I would say so. But that doesn't make me to resign at that point. I never resigned at that point. When I resigned because of principles. When I found that all these things, in fact, I was part of the people who were chosen from that very executive that I have never chance to vote for anybody, either chairman or I didn't even know how I was voted in. So there was a telephone mayor call that says that you are part of the executive. Before, to my surprise, before I even realized that I was part of the executive, I was already on the ground. When I've already called all the peoples, stakeholders to be part of this. I just thought that because we had a bar and restaurant association before in Senegambia, which Aliu can testify. And that was a long time. It never gets to anywhere at some point. But everybody was in. Lebanese, white people. I don't even like to say certain things, but I mean, all business owners were involved. So when it comes to this point, and you just get a mere telephone call to be part of the executive, when I've already called other people to come in, without even realizing that it was, first I thought it was for Senegambia Bar and Restaurant Association as they had the last time we had an association. So when I came in, I just find 11 tables and it was an executive. So when I spoke to Seni, that I was called by, it was Seni who called me. I told him, listen, how did you vote? And I even said in the executive meeting when we sat there for the second meeting, I told them, well, how did you vote for the executive? Because I've never had a chance, being part of the executive, to vote for anybody. So they started to say, oh, we did this because of the, Idris come up with this because of the COVID-19 money. That is what happened. So all this bar restaurant association that is in place right now, it was formed basically because of COVID-19 money. So the next thing, I was even part of, from that executive, I was part of the people that they say that we have to try to have the to try to be part of the people who should negotiate within the petitioners and the bar and restaurants association for now. So for me, I don't think this is about choosing people. To have an organization can never be to handpick people. That is my point. Thank you.
Just let's clarify something. This is not about race. I think let's be all understanding here. To buttress of what we are saying, if a European English citizen comes to Gambia and invests millions of dollars in the Gambia, we welcome that. So if all the members were, let's say, English people that invest millions from $1 into millions, and they decided to form a group that is well much needed, and they consult the whole Gambia, instead of just them doing an organization themselves, we would welcome that. But this was done in a different way. So this is in no way meaning this is about race, Lebanese, Mauritanian, Senegalese. These people are, I'm not more Gambian than them. Let me tell you that. They are born here, they're raised here, the kids are born here, they live here, they invest here. You have to give them that respect. You understand? So this is not about race. We have Indian, we have Italian, we have Chinese sitting in here. They've invested millions of dollars in here. That is good for you and I as the indigenous Gambians. Even if they become naturalized, they're still welcome. If they are not naturalized, they are still welcome. This is no way about race, about anything. It's about a group of people doing business in the Gambia. That's the difference. Doing business in the Gambia, wanting to come together regardless of where you're from. And it has to be done in the right way. So please, let's not have been questioned about race, about Lebanese, about Nars, about Tubabs. It's not a point here. The point is everyone doing business in here left your country. We even welcome that more. Come in here to add to our socio-economic development of the Gambia. We welcome that. As I said, there's people sitting here that has more investment than a Gambian in a restaurant here. So why would we have to discriminate that? That means we are doing the same thing that we are accusing the other group for. Let that be clear. And they're still welcome to come. We don't look at it whether you are brown, white, yellow, blue. What we are looking at, you live in the sovereignty of Gambia as a republic. You are doing business here, and you are more than welcome. And when the election comes, we don't select as they select. It's like, let's do it politically in the country. NPP is the newest party here. They come and select their president, vice president, minister of finance. after they consult the whole Gambia and tell you, come join, we have our government. Would that be fair to us as citizens? No, we go through the elections, and this is a layman explanation. That's what we're saying. Bring everybody, regardless of who you are. If you have the interest to be a chairman, treasury, this is all part of everybody sitting in here. If you have an interest, put your name and we vote. If you are selected, if the whole family put their name in the other group and they're elected, we are fine with that because they're going to be representing the mass. And this doesn't only have to do with juice presses, anything. If you have your patio in Matsasere Kunda, the tourists go there, they will eat Benachin in that there. If they feel the need to come and be part of it, because this is all welcoming. It's not by force that you operate a restaurant, you have to come. We are forcing you to come. You have to become an interest. And what our interest is, what we are saying is, we could fight for the taxes. As a group, if this was already formed, we could write to the GRA and Ministry of Finance and say, look, we haven't operated for this work. Can you lower our taxes? We are paying rent, we are paying rates, we are paying a lot of things. Lower our taxes in the interest of everybody. Can you give us a concession of next year? Give us 50% on our taxes. If our importers, Julbrew, as you are saying, Julbrew's situation has nothing to do with us. But if we feel that there are so many needs of the chicken importers, put $10 per kilo on a carton of chicken, and our plate of chicken in the restaurants is $2.50, we cannot add that $5. We are getting less profit, and they're increasing the prices. This is a group that we could come together and say, now we are very powerful. We have 200 or 300 people in there. We could say, look, lower this or we'll not buy from you. And these are the benefits that you could have. If you go and financially have a problem, the association will have membership fee and will have a trust fund for people. If it's valid that you need money for you to invest in your business so that you could come up, these are some of the things you get as a benefit. If we decide to come together and all 50 of us come to your place, each one decide to spend $1,000 in your business, maybe your business makes $50,000 a year, but 50 of us decide to come and patronize in your business, and we spend $50,000 in a day, it's good for that business. And we could do that weekly and go around. This group will go, this group will go, this group will go. So as I said, there are so many benefits that we are looking for that we have to unify to come together first. And that's what we are doing. So please, this is not about race, about color, about anything. It's about a group of people coming together. That's the niche in Gambia that is doing business in the hospitality business. Thank you.
I just want to make one thing clear here. When we say Gambia Bar and Restaurant Association, we have to keep in mind that we're not just talking about Senegambia. We're talking from Banjul to Koina. And when we're going to do this, we will definitely put it on the papers and totally in the media for all of us to have the chance to be part of this. And the other thing is, when I was called, I didn't only call Gambians. Alibaba is here, and I also have a connection with him. So it's not like when they called me to be part of the executive, I just call Gambians. I also call some Lebanese. There is Talle here. I call some, diverse people who have interest on this business. That's just what I want to make clear. Thank you.
Well, I think I know and realize, what is this delegated question, Omar, Usman? Can you come and just do that? Because we are close. Who is the one who delegated the question?
Okay, we take two more and that's it.
I love this place, man. Oh, yeah.
Ni leftan ko keso sotola futama Oljuntum Paradise Estate mbaya kumandiroke 7527218 wale futana website auto www.grandvillaguesthouse.com. Grand Villa Guest House.
Miss B Designer Outlet is the #1 quality and affordable stop shop for all your needs. Get your evening dresses, suit and ties, office wears for both ladies and gentlemen, beach wears, sport wears, pure leather shoes for men, quality belts, bags, heels for all beautiful ladies, original perfumes, accessories, and lot more. Find us at Kololini Road opposite Gaddafi Mosque at the Aqua Preacher Station, or call us on 295-3411 or 764-2486. Miss B Designer Outlet. Shop right, look good.